Do you remember? Do you remember? I remember all those years.
Oh, I remember. Oh, remember. I remember. Oh, I remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Do You Remember podcast. My name is Andrew Marsh. I am your host, and today I'm joined by Andrew Marsh, aka Balthazar Dark, aka one half of No Money in the Bank. Andrew, how are you doing?
Good, cheers, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. And today we're going to be talking about something we've both got a bit of a fandom for. We're going to be talking about Blink 182's Enema of the State. So for those who might not know, can you give us a brief overview of what Enema of the State is?
It's an album by Blink 182. Enough.
Like nursery rhymes on crystal meth or something.
That's very brief, fantastic. So it's an album from 1999. To give everyone listening like a bit of a reference of time. Me and Andrew were both like in our early 30s. So at the time it would have been like early teens when this album came out in 1999. So we were kind of the right target audience, weren't we? So we'll kick it off like right from the beginning then, shall we? Like, when was the first time you remember hearing Blink 182?
Same as a lot of people, it would have been when All the Small Things came out as a single. It went to number 2 in the UK charts, so it just exposed the band to a massive kind of mainstream audience that wasn't there before. On top, so that song was massive, and Leanne Rimes was number 1. Remember, really, it wasn't Leanne Rimes. It was someone like that. My kind of best friend at the time had cousins who lived in San Diego, where Blink are from.
Nice.
So they came over and they had a live album, like 18 months after All the Small Things and Enema kind of released. They came over with the live album, and it's just Mark and Tom playing the songs live, obviously, but all the kind of jokes and fart jokes and all the kind of stupid humor. And 16 years old, that was like the funniest kind of, it was like hilarious kind of thing.
I was mesmerized by the lights and the jokes.
Yeah, that was really my kind of gateway to the band, I would say. I think for a lot of people.
I mean, you started off with quite a general like introduction to them, the same as everyone else through All the Small Things, but then that's quite unique that you actually had kind of like friends of a friend, like you mentioned, like your best friend's cousin came over like from San Diego. That must have been like really exciting, especially that they had this album.
This is good. This is really good.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. Well, it was very cool to meet an American person.
Yeah.
One thing. I think it was probably like literally the first time I'd ever met an American person, and they kind of seem kind of, like most alien, like unique and like cool.
Yeah.
So when I've been listening to All the Small Things, and this great kind of pop song in the charts, when someone comes over also likes that band, and then they've got this really kind of cool live album that I'd not heard before, it just makes you want to. It really kind of brought me in, kind of thing.
My heart just started beating like crazy in my chest. I got all the chills.
I kind of wanted to be American a lot of my childhood.
I think that's quite a common theme, isn't it? Because I think I had that same thing. Because me and you were both big fans of wrestling as well, and obviously at the time the best wrestling on TV that you would see was from America as well. And California, yeah. I mean, they're not just any Americans; they're from California. That's
yeah, Southern California.
Yeah, it's like the epitome of cool. It's not like they're like some rednecks from Arkansas. Nothing against Arkansas, but it's a completely different. If you come over from California, you're like, wow, who are these cool people? I want them to be my friend, and they're bringing this album for it. That's quite interesting. Like you mentioned, Gateway.
Yeah, he's called Patrick. He's like a skater kid. So he had like hair, like dark, like spiked up kind of hair. Was from the same place as Blink, and it was very cool to meet someone like that at 15 years old, 16, whatever it was.
Definitely, and like so mentioning all that, then what was it specifically then about Blink 182? You mentioned the fart jokes and stuff like that, and you were the right age frame for it. So what was it that made you a fan of this band in particular? Were you a fan of like this kind of pop punk genre music, or was Blink like the gateway for you?
I think it was kind of the gateway to a lot of pop punk stuff. What I always think is, I'd been a fan of that music for a long time, for quite a long time, without knowing really what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, like a few years before kind of Enema of the State came out, occasionally I'd see videos on MTV. I think it like I remember seeing the Offspring "Kids Aren't Alright" video.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, what is that song? That's fucking cool. That's like the best song I've heard like ages. I didn't know it was pop punk. I just thought it was like it just sounded like this really kind of fast kind of like a really kind of fast melodic rock song. So I suppose like just kind of the speed and the melody and that kind of thing was really what I was always a fan of without knowing really what it was. Like
Yeah.
the first band I ever loved was Oasis, and kind of I still do, and they've got massive choruses and like a lot of melody, but then I heard all that Offspring song, and then later when I heard kind of Enema of the State, it was like the first time that
So,
clicked as to what kind of like
so would you
music
say it was
taste
more like
was.
the sound rather than like the lyrical content that like brought you in, or was it like a combination of the both?
It's just I think it was. I suppose it's always a combination, but I think really, yeah, it wasn't necessarily the lyrics. Lyrics didn't speak to me. It was more just how fast it was and the melody and that. It's very hard to talk about this stuff without sounding kind of wanky. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's all your personal experiences though, and that's the reason why I wanted to do this podcast. Was, I mean, I could sit here all day and I could talk about these old albums, but after a certain time, it would all just be repetitive. I'd just be saying the same things over and over again, and that's why it's interesting hearing different people talking about it with their different experiences. Because before coming on this podcast, I never would have known this, especially the thing about, you know, the friends came over from San Diego and having that experience. That's quite, like I said, quite a unique thing. And all these things help to shape you.
Yeah.
And like,
it's just. I was just gonna say it was very kind of specific kind of chain of events that really got me into kind of punk and pop punk in general, I suppose.
Yeah, you mentioned being a fan of like the sound and the melody and stuff like that. Was I had a complete different experience. It was always for me the kind of angsty teenage kind of content in the lyrics that really like drew me in and really like spoke to me in a sense.
Yeah,
like
I agree with that.
I mean, I don't know why the Blink lyric that always sticks in my mind. I mean, I don't even drive, and this lyric like really resonates with me. It's like, in the car, I just can't wait to pick you up on our very first date. It's like, it's just such like a teenage angsty kind of like, oh, like I'm going and about to pick up a girl, and like this like teenage kind of whole scenario that even at this age now, I'm 31 now, like I still get that kind of teenage angsty feel sometimes when I listen to some of these songs, and that's why it really gives me that kind of nostalgic, like goodness feel.
Yeah, I think I think lyrics became very important. Just in terms of a gateway, it was just like the accessibility of the music and melody. Once you get into a band, the first thing that I would do, starting with Blink, probably is the first time I listened to Enema of the State. The first time I bought that CD, it was about I would read the lyrics and listen along to the song.
Yeah.
I think that stuck with me. A lot of bands, every time I would buy a CD, the first thing I would do is listen to the lyrics. I would read along to the lyrics and listen to the song, listen to the album at the same time.
Do you think that's something that's kind of lost nowadays? Because I kind of feel like in this modern culture, people don't really, especially like teenagers, they probably don't really listen to albums as much. It's all about playlists now, isn't it? Like Spotify and like YouTube videos. So like they might be searching out the lyrics as well, but like you kind of don't get that immersive experience of right. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna take in this band for the next hour to 80 minutes or so.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely the case. When you used to buy, when you used to hear a song, kind of like an adventure to go and find where that song was from, what album it was on, and go out and buy that album. And then after that, like you'd have the whole kind of liner notes with the artwork and the lyrics that you could read.
Definitely,
Whereas
I
now,
remember.
if I'm
Yeah, go
sorry,
on. No, go on.
I was just gonna say, whereas now, if someone hears a song on Spotify, they can just click, hit three buttons, and then they've got that album to listen to.
Yeah,
You are
definitely.
miss you are missing out on a massive experience of how it used to be to kind of discover a lot of great music that you'd like, kind of thing.
Definitely, especially when you had your first album as a kid. I remember my first album was Coolio's Gangster's Paradise. And like, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
it's not a great album, but the fact that it was
I
my
only
first
remember the
album, yeah, the fact that it was my first album,
yeah,
I didn't have like when you get your first album, you don't buy five, you just buy one. So because it's your first one, you listen to it over and over again until you get your second album. And
yeah,
like I kind of feel like kids don't really have they don't have that same experience now. It's like I fell in love with that album, and like I say, it's not a great album, but I fell in love
yeah,
with it. Anytime on my iTunes now, and it flicks on randomly to one of those songs, that like, it puts me back to that state. I think it was like 2002 when I bought it, even years after it had come out. And like I say, the only real song of any importance off the album is the Gangster's Paradise song itself. But yeah, just the
yeah.
fact that kids don't have that now, I kind of feel a bit bad for them. And
It was
that's
cool,
what,
man.
yeah.
When you think about buying a CD, you know, early 2000s, late 90s, you think about the amount of information and what was actually involved with just buying that CD. You know, you could read the lyrics. There was the artworks that you know sometimes good, sometimes not, but
Mm-hmm.
it matter. And a lot of bands that I used to listen to towards the end after the lyrics was a massive kind of piece of space that said bands that you should check out or bands that you should listen to.
Oh, really?
And then they just I don't know if it was quite specific to kind of like punk bands, but there was this whole mentality where they would all, and it was similar with rappers, but there was this mentality where they would all support each other. So if you bought a Blink album, the back of that there'd be loads of bands that that have been friends with them or they've supported or supported them that you can kind of check out, kind of thing.
See, that's really interesting. And sorry, that's really interesting.
That
And
was massive.
even though I never noticed that. I never had one of these albums and really read through it and noticed that. But that makes me like really nostalgic that that was ever a thing and it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean that. Like I say, Blink was a gateway band to me, but it became a gateway because then you'd find out about Mark Hoppus from Blink managed a band called Phoenix TX. So then I bought a Phoenix TX CD. And and then behind the back of that, there's all the bands that they support and appreciate, and just go from there and find out more about band after band after band. Really, the manager of Phoenix TX's manager is Mark Hoppus. Any band that's associated with them must be cool, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It just led you onto a whole, load of
I,
bands that you wouldn't necessarily have heard of before.
yeah, I think Phoenix TX are on one of the American Pie soundtracks because I remember,
Yes, they are. Yeah,
was it Phoebe Cates or something like that, one of the songs? And
BBK's on American Pie too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that. But I've never, like, I don't know anything else about the band besides that. So again, that was interesting that you discovered them through Blink 182.
Yeah, and also that actually you mentioned that soundtrack, American Pie soon, American Pie 2 soundtrack. It had so much pop punk stuff on it. It was the first time I'd gone to see a movie, and all the music was like stuff that I liked, kind of thing. Um, It was just cool, really. Have that, I suppose. I went to see American Pie 2, and I went by
Yeah.
myself, and I sat in the audience by myself at like 16 years old seeing American Pie 2. I was so excited to see it. The first song, the opening track on American Pie 2 is Every
Yeah,
Time
it
I
is.
Look for
Yeah.
You by Blink. And it was just like this massive kind of, I was just sitting in the cinema and Blink was kind of blasting. It's like the coolest kind of thing. Um,
Definitely. And to me, it's all really a part of that time. Is like American Pie and Blink 182. It's so of that time, and yeah, it just makes me feel good and like gives me that real dump of like nostalgia. Like,
they were in, you probably know, they were in American Pie 1 very briefly.
yeah, in the first one.
With a monkey for some
Yeah,
reason.
I was gonna say it's so random that there's with a monkey. Was
There was like the band members, then there was some weird guy who wasn't in Blink, holding a monkey, I think.
yeah, they're watching the
Pretty
live
odd.
stream, aren't they?
Yeah,
Of Nadia and Jim. Yeah.
that's right, yeah.
Oh
If you
man.
think about it, that film came out in 1999, and they've all got functioning webcams when a lot of people probably didn't have functioning webcams in
Yeah.
night. It was really kind of a prescient kind of scene as you could imagine that scene in a film now and it'd be more kind of historically accurate, it'd be more of its time.
Do you know what? I actually thought that the last time I watched American Pie, that everyone's got a web. First of all, everyone's got a computer with internet on it. That was the first thing I thought, and then everyone's got a webcam and they can stream video live. How good is their internet back in 1999? But
There's
yeah,
like everyone in the area is watching something on a webcam. That wouldn't have happened in 1999. It freaking crashed, wouldn't it?
yeah. But I suppose it's just one of those things. Maybe they all upper middle class and they could all afford better internet than us.
Yeah. I know how that happened actually. Little Blink story.
Oh
The
yeah, go on.
reason they got in American Pie is because the casting people just came across a picture of Mark Hoppus just randomly online,
All right.
and they got in contact with him and said, "Can you be in the film?" And he said, "I'll be in the film if my band can be in the film." Um, that's how they got in American Pie 1,
Ah,
which
that's so
initially was going to be
random.
called East Great. The film
East
was going
Great
to be called
Falls.
East Great Falls or whatever. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the name of the school, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, that reminds me of like my favorite piece of wrestling trivia is like Raven. He's on the cover of one of
Oh
like the
yeah,
Nintendo 64 games, and
I
like for
heard this.
years,
Yeah,
wrestling fans speculated like, oh, like was there like a higher meaning to it? And then it just came out that whoever like designed the cover just liked Raven, so he just threw him on there with like Goldberg and
yeah.
Hogan, and I think the Giant, I think it is.
It was just an ECW fan, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's crazy, but yeah. So Blink 182 then, like, I mean, I'm guessing you have, but have you seen them live?
At least 10 times now.
Wow. So tell us about some of them. Where have you seen them? What years?
Um, well, if you go back to Enema of the State, about that was it hadn't. Enema of the State came out. They did a very small European tour where they did 2
Mhm.
dates in England. That was like around the time Enema came out.
Yeah.
To that, it didn't come over maybe 4 years.
Right.
So the point that I got into them, they didn't come to this country for 4 years. Um, and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket came out. They were supposed to come over, and 9/11 happened, so they cancelled the tour.
Ah.
And then they're supposed to reschedule those dates, and then Tom had a problem with his back or something, so they cancelled those dates altogether. The first opportunity I got to see them was like 2003, after the self-titled album came out.
Yeah.
It was just, it was very exciting, I suppose. No, I don't know how to say it. Um,
Where was it first of all? Then
it was really
where
good.
where did you see it?
The first time I saw them was Manchester Arena.
And
Spotted.
were you standing or sitting?
I was saying that's my stepmom bought the tickets.
Ah,
And I've got like a sister and a stepsister and two stepbrothers, so we were all kind of sat Manchester Arena. Although everyone stands anyway at the seating.
yeah,
It was just cool. I'll just sing along to like shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits, fat, and all that shit.
yeah,
It was just cool. It was like it seemed like it wasn't rebellious at all because it was a multi-million-dollar
yeah,
record deal and we're the most commercial band in the world. But it did still felt kind of punk to be able to like go to a show with my sister and sing along to swear words at the time.
yeah.
It was very cool. And then the time after that was interesting because they came back the following year. Again in Manchester, I saw them. It was the tour. Immediately after this tour, they broke up for the first time.
Right.
So it was quite clear there was a lot. It seemed like looking back, there was a lot of fiction. It's like
Yeah.
Mark's just gonna do what he's doing, and Tom's just gonna play his guitar as fast as he can, and as angry as he can. And when they've just got all this anger between the three of them, it really did make for like an interesting kind of dynamic. But it did spell the end of the band at that point. And they broke up for 4 years after that.
Yeah. What do you
That
think
was
of
the
the
first
current?
time.
What do you think of the current incarnation then? Like to you, is it still Blink now? Because I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm not as big as a fan as you are, but to me, it's not really Blink anymore.
It's not Blink 182 in name. It's not what anyone who started to get into Blink liked about Blink.
Yeah.
I love Matt Skiba, Alkaline Trio. But with all due respect to Matt Skiba, he's not Tom DeLonge.
Sure.
He doesn't have the same kind of interaction, same kind of dynamic with Mark Hoppus that Tom did. I think Blink songs were really good because you had Tom doing what he does very well, and then you had Mark doing what he does. And neither of them were brilliant separately. Somehow, when they kind of both put those parts together, it really worked for a lot of songs. It's really cool. Right now, it's not that. It's basically Mark Hoppus and Matt Skiba. It's not Blink 182.
Yeah, because I think I saw them when I saw them. It was still the original. Well, not the original, but you know who we all know as Blink-182. You know, Travis and Mark and Tom. And I saw them at Leeds. I was about 25, 26 at the time, but even to me then, it was still quite exciting seeing them because this was the first time I was getting to see them.
Yeah.
And like it was great for me. And then obviously, as soon as when I saw them at Leeds, I thought, right, I've got to see them again. A lot of people said, oh, they're not as good as they used to be. But to me, it was still great. It was still fantastic. I'm seeing Blink-182. They're putting on a good show. I can't wait to see them again. And then they went and broke up. And then, like you say, Skiba got put involved. And I just, yeah, it didn't really feel the same. I like the first album. Go on.
Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say, I just don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, what I would say is that if Matt Skiba, and Travis decided to do something together as a project, called it something completely different, and then played the songs that they have been writing and playing.
Yeah.
And I would be into it. I think California is like quite a good album, really. I think there's a lot of tracks on it, and there's a few on the new one as well.
Do you know what I was going to say?
Not,
I do enjoy California. I like the song Sober, like I know I messed up and it might be over. That one, I like that one. The last one, I'll be honest with you, I've not listened to it much. I think I give it one playthrough, maybe two plays through. It didn't really pull me in. But like, I think you're completely right. If they would have just made an offshoot band, you know, like Boxcar Racer or Angels and Airwaves Plus 44, something like that, just call it whatever you want. Call it Toys on the Floor, whatever you want. Yeah, I'd probably be into it
That's
more.
quite a good name, actually.
When you put
a good name for a band.
when you put Blink 182 name on it, when you put that sticker on it, and then you expect Blink 182, and then you see that, you're like, oh, it's not delivered to my expectations.
Yeah, I think if the question is, you like what Mark and Matt and Travis are doing now, I would say, yeah, generally I do quite like it. The question was, what do you think of Blink 182 now? I'd say I don't think much of it as Blink 182 now, because it doesn't really you expect of Blink 182 as a band.
Right, good stuff. So let's dive into the album, shall we? There's 10 tracks on this album, so we'll go through them one by one and just give me your thoughts and opinions on the songs and what they kind of mean to you and stuff like that. So track number 1, Dumpweed. What are your memories of this song? What are your thoughts on this one?
I think of this song, I think of I kind of early 20s and going to like punk nights in Leeds. It's called the Cockpit, and then a few other places. And I had a friend who would consistently ask this song to be played. The DJ just consistently haranguing them to play this song, which is understandable because it's a really good song. I like it. By the same token, it was kind of odd because it's the only person I've ever known that if they're going to go up to a DJ and ask for a Blink 182 song, they would ask for Dumpweed.
Yeah.
First track, Enema's Estate. Kind of, it was a very odd song choice for a lot of time.
I love the opening to it. You know, the riff. I think it's fun. It's such like a motivational kind of like get you into it. Like, come on, everyone, up on your feet, like get moving, kind of thing. Like, it like puts energy into you.
Yes, it is. Do you ever see the Tom DeLonge YouTube thing? The thing called The Pursuit of Tone. It was like a documentary about an hour and a half long.
I don't think so, no.
Seen that? Yeah, so it was just him talking about the history of his kind of musical endeavors, and played the start of Dumpweed and said how kind of significant was to his career. He kind of said a lot of the songs they used to write, particularly on the first few albums, it was like a nursery rhyme. The thing, it was just a very simple melody that was like a nursery rhyme, and then they'd build on top of that, so it was a bit less like a nursery rhyme. But I just thought it was weird that they built songs around the idea that you've got a very simple nursery rhyme kind of chorus or intro.
Ah, fair enough. No, I've not seen it. I'll have to look into that one.
Track number 2 was Don't Leave Me, which is so emotive in parts. The lyric where they say, she says that I'm not the one, now she thinks about it. Oh my God, that is just, you feel him at that moment, you really do feel him. But then the album just changes, and the next song it gets silly again as we get into track 3, Aliens Exist. What do you think of that one?
Knowing what we know now about Tom DeLonge, it's quite an integral track on the album, really.
Definitely, with the benefit of hindsight, like it really explains why this song is on the album.
Yeah, I think most Blink fans with any kind of reasonably serious interest knew that Tom DeLonge is interested in aliens. I think 3 years ago when he came out and said he'd been talking to all these high-level government officials and stuff, and he was doing this to the Stars Academy thing where essentially they want to build a spaceship. I think it really kind of blew people's mind in terms of quite how intense his interest in this particular area is.
Yeah, because the first time I heard about it, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and like he was going off, and like you said, like I've spoke to this government official, and I can prove this, but I can't tell anyone because of this and all that stuff.
Exactly. That's the first time I really heard him speak kind of semi-openly about it. I feel like Joe Rogan was taking the piss out of him a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like he was kind of giving him a bit too much rope to hang himself with, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just gonna sit back and let him say what he wanted to say. Um, you know, I don't know how much truth. I don't know exactly what's happening with Tom DeLonge and To the Stars Academy, but it does seem like it's something he's very interested in. He's putting all his money into it, and regardless of how much truth there is, regardless of what he knows and what he doesn't know, it's kind of nice that he's got this hobby that he's kind of cracking on with, and he's really interested in. He's got goals. He's kind of motivated to finding out things and helping. He would say helping kind of humanity, really. I don't.
You sound like a proud father. Like, oh, I'm glad he's got something in his life. Now he's not in that band anymore. I'm glad he's occupying
Exactly.
himself.
Yeah, he's very happy to do that. Do know that his wife, him, just separated, and part of me
Right.
thinks it was probably to. Part of me thinks it might have been banging on about aliens, fucking years. That's kind of driven a wedge between them. But that's just my kind of theory on that. His personal life.
But I mean, it sounds realistic. It can't be easy living with someone with. I mean, even if aliens are real, like, surely she probably doesn't feel the same way about them that he does, and that must be some kind of driving force between them.
I think so. Yeah. I just think that because for months I wondered what his wife thinks about all this. He's coming home every day saying, "Oh, I found this out, found that out." She must think he's getting fucking crazy.
Definitely. So, how about the next track then? Going Away to College. I'm a particular fan of this one.
Yeah, I love this song. I think this is one of my top 10 Blink songs, really. What do I think about this song? I think it's interesting lyrically in that it's about going away to college when neither of them actually went away to college. So it's more like a kind of character kind of piece in a way.
I think it's part of the genius marketing of knowing like what their fan base age wise was and being like, okay, this is something that, and probably their friends around them doing it as well, so it's still relatable to them.
Yeah, exactly. They've got enough knowledge of people going to college that means that they can write a somewhat relatable song about going to college.
I find it quite aware of itself as well. Like this is to me is like Blink quite aware of themselves. Like some of the lyrics, like bouquet of clumsy words, a simple melody. This world's an ugly place, but you're so beautiful to me. Like it's kind of them being very aware of themselves. Like you were saying, like they get a lot of stick for being simple and having just a melody and like clumsy words thrown together.
Yeah, no, it's very self-aware. You say clumsy words, a simple melody could describe any Blink song really. Right from the first lyric is like, "Please take me by the hand. It's so cold out tonight." It's like it's just literally bringing someone into the song, listener into the song. It's like, "Take me by the hand." No, come and listen to this Blink song.
Definitely, yeah, you're right. I've never thought about it that way, but yeah, it is very inviting in that sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's very welcoming.
And then I've got a couple of people that I know that have covered this acoustically as a song, and it works. I mean, to be honest, if anyone covers a Blink song in any way, I'm on board with it. I will listen to that.
Yeah.
This one in particular, really kind of, it's already an intimate song. If you play this song acoustically semi decently, it's a really good kind of cover that I've heard people do in the past.
Definitely. And I mentioned the opening riff of Dumpweed earlier, but again, this is another one like the opening riff. I love it. I'm absolutely all about it. And that's one of the real powerful things about Blink is I can be listening to like my iTunes on shuffle And when the Star of a Blink song comes in, it doesn't really matter which one it is, but they just pull you in straight away.
Yeah, it really does. It's kind of like, I mean, in a way, it's like a Marmite kind of thing. I know people that love these kind of songs, and I know people that absolutely don't get it whatsoever, and that's fine. But if you do like it, it's very easy to just pull you in straight away.
Yeah, I think that is the beauty as well of like really strong media, like I say, we're both fans of pro wrestling. There's tons of people who hate pro wrestling, and regardless of what you show them, they'll never open their minds to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that complete hate that some people have for it, it inspires a huge love for it as well. And like I think that could be great. And us as stand-up comedians, like, to me, if 99.9% of the world absolutely hated my stuff, but like that what minus like 0.1% did, like
Yeah.
I'd be all over that, and like to have that dedicated fan base, and that'd be something
Yeah.
that you'd strive for.
That's kind of how I feel. There's
So-
100 people that don't like what you're doing. I'd rather have one person who really, really likes it than 100 people that just are vaguely disinterested.
Yeah, they're a bit apathetic to you, like, oh yeah, it was okay, but like that one person who comes up to you afterwards and they're like, oh, I love that, it was fantastic. That's what
Oh,
the
you
real
want,
like
innit?
joy is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So how about the next track then? This is the big one. This is the one that everyone knows. If you're a fan of Blink, if you're not a fan of Blink, What's My Age Again? You mentioned it was the video that you saw for the first time that really opened your eyes to Blink. So let's just roll it back to there. Where did you first see it? Where did you first see this video? And what are your first recollections of that?
Right, well, guys, the first one was All the Small Things. That was the one that went massive here. Actually, What's My Age Again was the first single. It didn't really, it didn't really chart here. But to me, What's My Age Again was always the second song that I heard. Was
All
the
right.
second. So you had All the Small Things, and then once that went massive, it's like, by the same token, gave What's My Age Again some kind of recognition.
Yeah, you're right. You did say All the Small Things. For some reason, I combined the two in my head when we
Yeah.
were talking. Yeah.
I mean, I combine the two all the time, to be honest, because if I go out to places that play like rock music, it'll always be one of the two that gets played.
Yeah.
I would have to say that What's My Age Again is by far a better song than All the Small Things.
Yeah. I mean, the pair of them are just two powerhouses of like pop punk, aren't they? These two songs are just the complete like. And like, if you don't know anything about pop punk, these are two songs that are out there in the open that anyone can listen to and go, "Oh, I know that song. Yeah, I like that song." And
Yeah.
It's so yeah. So what are your thoughts of What's My Age Again then?
It's just weird because, like you say, those two songs have. Think of Blink-182, you think of those two songs. And to be honest, I've heard both a reasonably equal number of times. I've got sick of All the Small Things a long time ago, you know?
Yeah.
Because What's My Age Again? It's weird because I've heard it probably a very similar amount of times. I've never got sick of What's My Age Again.
And the video as
I don't know
well,
quite
like
why.
it was so iconic, wasn't it? With them all like naked running through the streets, and then Janine Lindemulder is like walking through. Obviously, she's the cover star of the album, but
Yeah.
I mean, to have her in physical form walking through while they're running through the streets naked it's like a glaring thing in your face, isn't it?
I was watching like a YouTube video before we started talking, and apparently the video for What's My Age Again was like son's director's idea. No, the director's
All
son's
right.
idea. He basically said to his dad it'd be funny if they were just really naked through the streets, kind of thing. Which I suppose it was in hindsight.
was.
You know, it's a very iconic video.
definitely, it was genius as well because, like, to me, they came around at the same time as like some of the other punk bands, like you mentioned, Offspring before, and I kind of got to know them all at the same time. Like, I was kind of late to the party in that sense, and I started to see them all on MTV. But this is like one of the videos that like really, really like stands out more than anything else. There's this one, and there's what were they called? You and Me, Baby Ain't Nothing But Mammals, what they called now.
Bloodhound Gang.
The Bloodhound Gang, yeah. There's these two videos that like really, really stand out for that time as like that kind
Yeah.
of.
So in the Bloodhound Gang, it's an experience.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Well, this is like about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the bassist I went out for curry in Leeds beforehand, and once they got on stage, the bassist downs a bottle of Jägermeister,
Right.
proceeded to throw up on, throw up on the lead singer intentionally.
Oh,
I think the lead singer asked him to do that. Then he threw up in his cap and then on his head.
I can only imagine what a
He
wild
got a Leeds
experience. I mean,
United shirt out and pretended to wipe his
that
ass.
would be a
It
wild experience now.
wasn't
But
great musically.
yeah,
It was something you remember, you know.
definitely. But yeah, that would have been such a wild experience, especially as a teenager. Like seeing that, you'd be like, "Wow, what is this madness? I'm
Why is
seeing
this
in front of
happening?
my eyes." Yeah.
And going back to What's My Age Again, I remember because you mentioned what's the face, Janine Thingy.
Yeah.
When I bought the CD, I ripped the cover off the front so that my dad wouldn't see it.
Who ripped the
Looking
cover?
back, I decided to take the cover off the CD.
Why?
Off well, because I got it into my head that my dad wouldn't approve of me having a CD with a woman with big boobs and blonde hair about to give an enema.
Ah, okay.
Which is strange because he wouldn't. If you look at that cover, it's not that bad. It's not like it's not like it's got like naked boobs on. And to be honest, B, knowing my dad now, even if he had seen that, he wouldn't have like kicked off about it. You know?
Yeah.
For some reason, it seemed quite something I had to hide at the
Yeah, like
time.
something taboo. It's
Yeah, very much.
interesting that, isn't it? That like you would
Yeah.
think that.
It's interesting what you project onto your parents.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid, you project what they think like quite a lot. My took the form for me of being scared that my dad would throw away some of my CDs.
Yeah. Okay, then how about the next one? Dysentery Gary. This is one that like because of the name of it, it never really stands out to me just because the name is just so bizarre. But like, yeah, what do you think of it?
You know what dysentery is? I'm not sure.
I think it's like a stomach bug when you're shitting yourself, something like that.
Just looking up the lyrics now, so I can remember the song. Oh yeah. What number track are we on, Adam? What number is this?
This is track number 6.
Yeah. So I think by this point in the album, when you've had Dumpweed, which I love, Don't Leave Me, What's My Age Again, and basically every track before this is I've really kind of enjoyed. And this one isn't a bad song, but because you've gone from really good song to really good song, this one's never left much of
Yeah.
an impression with that. Hello?
I think, no, I'm with you, but
Oh,
yeah, I think that the main part of this song that I love is like the chorus, like "Fuck this place, I lost the war, I hate you all,
yeah.
your mom's a hoe, where's my dog, girls are such a drag," like
Yeah.
I mean, I would sing it, but I can't sing, so I won't put everyone through that. But yeah, like
Good one.
that is just such like a catchy, just end to the song.
Yeah, it's a good song. I was gonna say.
It feels a little bit
It's-
like filler, doesn't it? Because it's not kind of to the level of some of the other songs on the album. It does, like, and especially because we're getting towards the middle, it kind of feels like they've gone, should we just throw this one in the middle? Like, we don't need it on the
yeah,
album, but should we just pad it out a little bit? And it's not a bad song, but it doesn't live up to the heights of some of the other ones.
yeah. It's very hard to enjoy song after song after song, even if they're all good. Your attention's gonna wane at some point.
Yeah,
You know, when we've done like comedy bill, 15 people on.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if someone's like 8 on, it's like 20 past 10 at night. They could be fucking amazing. It doesn't matter how good they are, because people have been sitting for so long. It's very hard to really feel like justice to a set when you're 9th on after 15 people.
Yeah, definitely. You need that kind of that lull, and I suppose that it does pay off. So, how about the next song then? Number 7, titled after me, Adam's song. When I first saw this written down, I thought, yes, I want to like this song. I like Blink-182. I want to like this song. And don't get me wrong, I do like this song. I just really wish it wasn't a depressing one.
Yeah. I think it's a good song. I think it's the one that's a real change of pace on the album. Still don't really understand a lot of the lyrics. Yeah, there's the one about spilling a cup of apple juice in the hall.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that's. It's about suicide, obviously. And then there's the lyric where Mark says, "I couldn't wait till I get home to the time in my room
Yeah.
alone." That's about the tour when Scott Rayner, the original drummer, that's about the end of the tour where they all just fucking fell out and they had to kick him out. That lyric's
Okay.
about getting home from that particular tour. I know that. I think the video is really good. You remember the video?
Yeah, has it got like a house and like did like
It's kind of there's the video for "Stay Together the Kids" when they're in a house, the album after. But yeah, they are they're in like a massive kind of unused warehouse
no, yeah,
thing,
you're
and
right.
it's just them
I'm mixing the two up. I'm thinking of Stay Together for the Kids with the video. You're right there.
Yeah, but no, it is still a house though. It's just like a big warehouse, and they're playing, and then in the background there's loads of old posters, from old
Yeah.
Blink tours and stuff. And then it cuts between that and them kind of be like backstage at a show, and then the camera will zoom past them back of the dressing room, and there's like some guy that they know having an argument with his girlfriend. It's like
Ah.
it's kind of like this thing about where you don't really know what anyone else is feeling, and you think are having a good time, and then the camera goes straight past them to this guy who's presumably suicidal, kind of thing. It's a good video, and I like the song. It's just very jarring, not only on this album when it's a lot different. When they played it live, doing all these terrible jokes, and
Yeah.
then between that they cut this and say, "Hey, stop all the jokes. This song's about depression." They wipe that shitty thing grin off your face. I imagine I never saw them at that point live. I imagine seeing them at that point live, it would have been a very jarring kind of transition between songs
Yeah,
when they
definitely.
started playing this
If you
one.
went to see them live, especially like before the album came out, like when they just gigging beforehand.
Yeah,
Before you ever heard the song, and that'd be the first time you heard it. Especially like you're listening to stuff like "What's My Age Again" and going away to college, and then you just take this song. Yeah, it is. It definitely would be jarring. You're right, but okay. Next song then, the actual first song that you heard after my mess up earlier on, number 8, "All the Small Things." Take it away.
I shit on it completely because it's the first song I ever heard, and I loved it for a lot of time. But it's been overplayed. You know,
Yeah.
any music channel I would watch, anytime I would go to like rock nights, and it's not. I don't know what to say about it really.
I think it's
He used to like his.
you're completely right, and you probably have the same experience as me with this one. It's like it's very much like Wonderwall by Oasis in that
Exactly. Yeah.
everyone knows it, everyone always plays it everywhere, and like it's not a bad song. And if you could go 5 years without listening to it somehow, and then you listen to it in 5 years' time, you'd be like, "Oh my god, I love this song! I can't believe I've not heard it in so long." But the fact that it's been so overplayed,
Pretty true
you,
that, yeah.
you're kind of done with it a little bit. It's like you can only eat so much chocolate. You can only watch the same film so many times. Like you don't need it over and over again. But yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't take away from its quality, but it does take away from its like listenability, doesn't it?
Yeah. The way I knew that I was bored of it was because if I was to listen to that song now and sing along, I wouldn't be singing from DeLong's lead vocals. The only bit I would be singing would be Mark's backing vocals, just to keep it interesting for me, kind of thing.
Okay.
I've sang along to that song so many times that if I was to sing along now, I would be listening to different parts of it. So I'd be singing along to just the backing vocals.
Yeah.
I do that with a few songs, to be honest. That's the way I know that I'm bored of a song, if I start singing the wrong bits, I suppose.
I suppose it's one way of keeping it interesting for yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. And I remember it being on a British Gas advert in like 2004 or something.
Was it? I don't even remember that.
I'm pretty sure it was. It might not have been British Gas. It was on like
Some
an
kind of
energy
energy
company
supplier.
or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, some energy supplier. I don't know quite why they chose that.
What do you
They
remember
did.
about the video then? Because you said you saw the video then. What do you remember about that? Because I mean, it's a very famous video. They parody a lot of things. Most famously to me
Yeah.
is the Backstreet Boys in the airport bit.
Yeah.
What do you remember about this?
It's funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
um,
Do you know what? It really struck me
Um,
something early when I was thinking about this is that Blink-182 to me, because the kind of people I hung up, because I don't know about your background too much, but I grew up on a council estate in Bolton, so like listening to Blink-182 wasn't really like the accepted thing. So Blink-182 was kind of my like dirty little secret that I like, I kind of listened to when I was at home, but I would never really talk to my friends about it and stuff like that. But I remember I was at this guy's house. He was a drug dealer actually, and he was listening to Backstreet Boys, right? And I thought, how weird was it? I never put this together before until about 2 hours ago before this podcast. That like it's acceptable for a drug dealer to listen to the Backstreet Boys, but the people who take the piss out of the Backstreet Boys in this video and do it in a more cool way, in a more funny way, Blink-182, you kind of have to hide listening to that. And that's like was my dirty little secret that I enjoyed this kind of music.
yeah, get that. Thing is though, if you look at that song, if you take that song specifically, what made that song really massive is again kind of the simplicity of it and the melody and the harmonies kind of thing. That song isn't a million miles away from what they were taking a piss out of in the video. The reason all the small things got massive is the same reason that Backstreet Boys got massive. Because it's kind of good looking guys playing very simple songs that are easy to relate to for teenagers, whether that's Backstreet Boys or Blink-182 at that point. Actually wasn't that much difference between the two, particularly fair. of the state. It was just
No,
funny that they were taking the piss when really they were doing the same thing essentially.
yeah, that's definitely right. And I suppose again, that's kind of the cleverness of the marketing is they were trying to be kind of a bit counterculture, weren't they? But at
Mm.
their essence, they were kind of doing a lot, like you said, a lot of the same things that the Backstreet Boys do. And
Yeah.
that's really interesting. I never really put two and two together with that one, but yeah, you're spot on with that.
What's that shop in America? There's like it's like fake pop punk stuff. Hot Topic, bit of Hot Topic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like Hot Topic punk in that it and pretends to be punk, but really it's just there for mass commercialization.
Yeah, kind of like Busted and McFly. Do you think like because they were more pop than punk, but they kind of
Yeah,
were under the guise of
exactly.
we're a bit punky, but they kind of weren't.
Yeah, exactly. And at this stage in Blink's career, it's exactly that. The reason that Busted got popular in the UK is the reason that Blink got popular in the US. It was a very similar kind of, uh, very similar look to them, you know.
Definitely, definitely. So let's crack on then, shall we? Track
Aesthetic.
number
I was
9.
going to very similar aesthetic. I
Yeah,
was going to say, yeah, the word
that's
aesthetic.
yeah. Good word, good word to use. Right, track number 9 then, the party song. What do you remember about this one?
Love it. Um, Never learned the lyrics to this because if you remember, Mark sings them.
And
Uh,
there's like 40,000 words in this song as well, like especially going through all the small things before where like half the words are na 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 na, and then you
yeah.
got this one where like it's just tons and tons of content, which is great as well. But yeah, like it is hard to remember it.
Um, you know that this must have been a difficult one to sing because at the start of the song, you literally hear Mark inhale before he starts the vocal. He has to take a
I've never,
massive. If you listen to it again, um,
yeah.
he goes, "I hate." He whispers, "I hate you, motherfuckers." Then he takes a big deep breath and he starts singing this song.
I've never noticed that. I'm gonna have
Um,
to listen to that after this.
yeah, you should do, man. That's what I remember about this. And to be honest, things I like about this song are the things I like about any song on this album. It's very simple. Lyrically, it's difficult to sing, but in terms of a melody and how it goes, it's very simple. Um, it's just edgy enough to sound like a really at 16. It's just edgy enough to make you think it's like this really cool kind of punk rock track
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um, never, never played it live until the last couple of years. Skiba's been involved. Did a Las Vegas residency a couple of years ago, which meant they were playing in Las Vegas every weekend for like 6 months to a
I
year.
never knew they did that.
Yeah, because you get paid. Well, it's like what Celine Dion does and stuff.
Yeah,
Elton
because you
John
always hear
leaves.
about people like that and like people like Madonna and all these
Yeah,
American
you just
names.
get paid a fucking. And Backstreet Boys did it as well. Get paid a shitload for going to Vegas every weekend. Like the corporate sellouts are now apparently.
Yeah.
Um, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it was fans asking or they getting bored of their own set. They decided at some point to start playing the party song live. And I'm sure Mark struggled with it, but it's
Yeah.
it just seemed like a weird thing to do. If I'd seen Blink, first time I saw Blink, if I'd seen them do the party song, I thought it was fucking amazing. But it just seems a bit watered down and a bit like contrived. They're
Mm.
doing it with Skiba just
Yeah.
because before it's a blatant attempt to appeal to the old Blink fans, I suppose.
What about track number 10 then? Another from American Pie, Mutt. I first of all, I just want to put it out there. I absolutely love this song. When I heard it on American Pie for the first time, I was like, "Well, what is this?" I absolutely love it. I got to check out who it's by. And when I realized it was Blink-182, I was like, "Awesome, I'm in." Tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's. I like it. This was the first track he ever demoed for Enema of the State.
Okay.
It was the first time they wrote for Enema of the State, and there's a few videos on YouTube of them playing this live before Enema of the State came out, with Scott Rayner
Right.
as drummer.
Okay.
And there's, I don't know, you need to look at it on YouTube, but there's a video of them in Australia, and there's this massive backdrop that says Blink-182 in the old Dude Ranch letters, and playing in this song, playing Mutt. It's just so much better. Like as original raw kind of thing. It sounds like a proper like rock song. Like
Ah, that's so
the thing
interesting.
that I
They must have written it
uh,
like such an early time.
they wrote that earlier. I don't know which version is on. I don't know which version's on American Pie. Um, I'm tempted to say it's not the Enema version. If you listen to it back, it's the kind of the demo version on American Pie, just because I came out, given the timings,
Yeah.
Game Enema of the State was like after American Pie. I think it's a good
Yeah.
song. That version was just so much cooler, and it kind of spoke to what I don't like about Enema of the State, which is the kind of polish to it, kind of boy band sheen that they're taking the piss of is really kind of represented on that
Yeah.
album.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna have to definitely check that
Yeah,
out. But yeah, I
good
think it,
song.
yeah, I think they play this song when like he's running. Is it when he's running between the houses? Like when Nanny's
Yeah,
like getting undressed and like just the
that's
lyrics
right.
of like
Yeah,
he pauses shaving and he tells himself that he is the bomb. Like just that as an opening lyric is like
yeah.
talk, talking about some like guy who he thinks like cocky and like it. I
It's
mean,
about
yeah, it's just great.
it's great. It's about um professional surfer that Tom lived with for a short
Oh,
time. His whole thing
really?
was just going out and shagging loads of girls. That's what it's about.
Right. I mean, that just adds extra layers to the song for me and like makes me like it even more. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it adds an extra dimension when you know it's about a specific person.
Yeah, rather than like a made up story kind of thing.
Yeah, for a long time I thought it was like going away to college, in that it's just like a made up thing about someone who could or couldn't be real, rather than like a
Hmm.
fictional person. Whereas this one's about um a real person that Tom knew. So I think that makes it better.
Yeah, definitely. What about the penultimate track then on the album, Wendy Clear?
No, never resonated with me massively. Um, I only know that because I don't know the lyrics to it. Like, I can sing along with most of this album. At least I think I can. But this one never. No,
It feels to me
I
like
don't know
another
why
filler
though. I
track.
don't know if it's because it's near the end of the
Yeah,
album and you're
yeah. It
thinking,
just
right?
feels like to me like
Yeah,
another filler track, like penultimate song. Like let's just throw it in there. Like instead of a 10 track album, let's make it a 12 track album. You got Dysentery Gary earlier on. Now you got Wendy Clear, which is probably the weakest song on the album, the penultimate one. You kind of
yeah,
you've got everyone on board. You've given a decent album up until now, and then you've just given this one a bit of filler, just chuck it out there. That's what it seems like to me, anyway.
yeah. I think so. It's one of the few justifications I think you can have for just listening to tracks separate to an album. Like when you were saying earlier, like younger people will just listen to tracks rather than an
Yeah,
album. Obviously, the benefit of that is there's no kind of skip along tracks. You can literally put together your own albums that you can listen to without having to skip any tracks.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's gone that way, isn't it? So I mean, a lot of people like one song from this band, one song from that band. Like me and you can talk about pop punk bands all day. And for the most part, all the bands that you really love, I probably only really like 1 to maybe 3 of the songs of that band because I just don't really know a lot about them. So it helps people like me in that aspect. But at the same time, people like me, I would want to establish as much of a fandom of a band because I don't dive further into the songs, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good song, really. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's not grabbed me, and I've never heard anyone say how much they kind of love it.
Yeah.
It
How about
does
the
all the,
fine? Go on, sorry.
I was just gonna say it does all the things that the rest of the songs on this record do. Being simple and kind of enjoyable. But you can forget about it quite easily. This one, which I'm sure that's the same with a lot of them.
Yeah. So how about the last song on the album then? Track number 12, Anthem.
Yeah. Anthem's good. I prefer Anthem Part 2 off the
Yeah, I prefer
album
Anthem
after
too,
this.
yeah.
Uh, which I suppose credit this song if lyrics from Anthem Part 2 build on the lyrics from this one. Without this song, you wouldn't have Part 2 because there wouldn't be anything to build on, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it mentions dogs. But
I think that's one of the better trademarks, isn't it? I think it does mention dogs. Where does it mention dogs? I'm looking
give
at
our neighbour Bob, I think he humps the dog. There's a lot of dog stuff.
there is a lot of dog humping in the whole Blink 182 universe, isn't there?
Yeah, and interestingly, it's always Tom's lyrics that mention
Yeah.
dog fornication. Not quite sure what that is, but I suppose Tom's sense of humour at that point was just, loving a dog. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's gone from loving dogs to exploring space with aliens, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so but I like this song, and without being a bit redundant, I think it is a very anthemic, and I do like it for that aspect, and I think it's a nice solid like topper off of the album. You've got the better songs earlier on, but you've ended on a decent high note, I think, with this one.
Yeah, I think it's a good song.
Yeah, definitely. So, what would you give the album out of 10 then? If you could rate the album out of 10, what score would you give it?
Based on like any music I'd ever heard, I'd give it like a 8.5. If you're just saying in the context of all Blink 182 albums, I'd probably give it 7.5. It's not my favorite, but it's a good
I think it's a good album, and I'm quite
the one that got me
you.
into the band. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite there with you with like I would give him like 8.5, 9. I was thinking. So when you said 8.5, I thought that's about spot on for what I'd say as well.
Yeah, but that's me comparing like Blue Bega on a 0 to like 182 self-titled on a 10 kind of thing. So I'm just trying to judge it on any music at all.
Oh yeah, sure. I think that's the way it should be judged as well. It should be judged on the really terrible to what the greatest stuff ever. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because if you're asking me if it was based on just Blink 182 album, give it a little bit less because it's not my favorite Blink 182 album. But like I say, it's the first real album I really liked. So
yeah
8.5.
Let's do a bit of a slight dive then into some of the other albums, and without going too far into them. What just give me like your brief overview of what you think of these ones then. So we'll start from the beginning. Cheshire Cat. What are your thoughts on Cheshire Cat?
Cheshire Cat seemed like the coolest album in that I remember asking my auntie to get me it for Christmas after I'd already had like the State and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. With Enema and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, you've got an understanding of what Blink do. And then with Cheshire Cat, when I finally listen to it, it kind of just distills that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes all the elements from Enema that got blown up and kind of polished. And those elements are still there, but it's a lot rawer and it's a lot kind of it's a lot more like a punk. It starts with Carousel, which is one of my favorite Blink songs. It's got like a 20, 30-second intro.
Yeah.
I listened to that for the first time. Like it was great. I loved it. Yeah.
So what do you think of Dude Ranch then?
Um, I really like Dude Ranch. I think it took what they'd done from Cheshire Cat, made it a bit more kind of accessible, but it's still kind of punk rock album heart. And it's got Damn It On, which if you had to
Yep.
push me, I'd say is still my favorite Blink song.
Wow. I mean, it's a great song, but I wasn't expecting you to say it was your favorite. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I just like Damn It. And it's got Josie on, which is a really good song. It's got a great video.
Mm-hmm. How
But
about
yeah,
Take Off Your Pants and Jacket then?
Jacket, when I first listened to it, after listening to Enema, it sounded almost too kind of rocky for
Right.
me. Like I thought it was too kind of punk rock in a way. After having listened to Enema of the State with kind of its softer edges,
Yeah.
listened to it, I thought this isn't for me. I couldn't hook onto any of the kind of choruses or anything. Then it came a point where I just kind of listened to it regularly and consistently for a long time, and singles came out, and it kind of turned, I suppose, and I really, really like it now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
How about the self-titled then, Blink 182?
Um, and I really like it now, but it probably took even longer to grow on me than Take Off Your Pants and Jacket did. I remember feeling this for the first time, and the choruses are really like nothing Blink had ever done, and I didn't like it. And then, but when the chorus comes in, you can tell it's still Blink. And you really had to just kind of commend them for actually managing to keep the elements that do work, and then also just taking some risks and trying. They were like one of the biggest rock bands in the
Yeah,
world
definitely.
at
They
the
100%
point.
were. I mean, I
So
remember this came out in about 2003, but I think I first heard it in 2004, probably about 9 months after it came out. I first properly listened to it. And at the time, Blink 182 was such like a huge band. I was in college at the time, and when my mates knew that I hadn't heard it, they're like, "You've not heard it. You have to listen to it. You have to know what the song." And they played it for me, but I remember really enjoying it.
yeah, no, it's it's really good.
How about Neighborhoods then? I think Neighborhoods is that the last album they all did together?
That was the last one with Tom. Yeah.
So what do you think of
I thought it was all right. When you've not had Blink as a band for 5 years, for one thing. So you've not had any Blink new music for 5 years. When something gets released and there are some bits that you like, it was enough to make me really kind of enjoy
that?
it,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
How about go on?
I was just gonna say, I think a lot of at this point, Tom's been experimenting a lot with Angels and Airwaves, and the bad parts of that kind of leaked onto this album. The weird kind of vocals that he started doing, and these kind of massive U2 kind of guitar lines and choruses.
Yeah.
Didn't didn't really fit in with what Mark was trying to do. So it was quite a flawed album. But to be honest, I haven't listened to it for a long time. I mean, think if I do, I might actually enjoy it more than the couple of Mark and Skeeper albums. So I need to listen to it again. Really, never gave it that much.
Because I enjoy it, to be honest with you, and especially because in hindsight, looking back at it, it's the last one they're all together. I think it makes it feel a bit better to me. But moving on then, how about California? We were talking about it before. What do you think of California?
Similar, really, in the sense that I was looking forward to a new Blink album. So any Blink album's better than no Blink album, you know. You said I think "Sober's" a great song. I think it's got a really good kind of chorus, and Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy helped them write that one.
Oh, I didn't know
that. I like that one. Then, "Bored to Death," the one that was the single. That's a good song. Like a lot of elements to it that were like old Blink. You could, for some reason, I don't know if it was the production or whatever, you could just tell it wasn't really. It was them trying to find that sound rather than it coming organically, kind of thing. They had the John Feldman from Goldfinger was producing it, and the last few years he's been producing like 5 Seconds of Summer and stuff.
Yeah.
He was suggesting his input in the album was more than I would have it needed to be. You should have just let Blink kind of do.
Yeah, but
I thought it was a good album, but like we were saying earlier, I think ultimately it wasn't a Blink album. It was something different that wasn't bad.
If they would have had a different name and not had that Blink 182 tag on it, then you could have seen it as something different. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How about the latest album, 9, which I'll be quite open and frank. I've listened to maybe once, twice. It's never really grabbed me. Nothing on it's really pulled me in. What do you think of 9?
It's a terrible name, and I think the cover's atrocious. I like a few of the songs. I feel like it's becoming. I'd be worried about the Blink album after this if it was still Skiba and Hoppers, because it's becoming more and more distant from what you associate with Blink.
Yeah.
I think California is a lot closer to what Blink is than 9 is, to the extent that if they do 10, whatever they want to call it, I think it's going to be even more distant from what I would like to hear from Blink-182.
Yeah, definitely so. Oh, what do you think the legacy is of Blink-182 then? It all said and done, if we're looking back now and someone says, like, let's say it's over now, and someone says, tell me about Blink-182, like, what were they like? What would you say the legacy is of Blink-182?
In 20 years, what will people look back and think of Blink-182? I think people will just think that they were, catchy rock songs that a lot of people could enjoy and kind of have a good time, and they didn't never taken themselves too seriously, which a lot of bands tend to do.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's these like series of videos on YouTube and like going around Facebook and stuff like that, and it's basically where this camera crew, they get like young people to watch like. Have you seen it? Yeah, and like it's like kids reacting to Blink-182 videos and stuff like that. And I find those really interesting because, I mean, one, it makes me feel really, really old that you've got these like 18-year-olds going, oh my God, my dad listens to this music. And like, yeah, it makes me feel so. But I think it's really interesting how like different, basically the new generation are kind of seeing it and what they think of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think those videos are particularly interesting with regards to the Blink ones, because a lot of them are watching these songs and they either know the songs or they enjoy them. I think they're kind of timeless. All
Yeah,
small things
definitely.
will always be a good pop song.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
I think that's probably. What do you say? What was the question? Sorry, Adam.
No, there's no real question. I was just seeing if you'd seen it and like just to discuss it, but no, cool. But okay, on a more personal level,
Yeah.
then to you, because obviously, like I first knew you as a one member of No Money in the Bank, and recently you've been working on your own your next show. No One Likes You When You're 33. That's the right title, isn't it? I'm not butchered that, have I?
That's the one we did. Yeah, that's the one we did last August.
Oh, that's what you did last. Oh, sorry, I thought it was your upcoming one. So, but so obviously there's some
That's
kind of
cool.
inspiration there for you. But like as a stand-up comedian, like did they really like inspire you, or am I reading too much into it?
Blink.
Yeah, just as
Um,
like
they
as an
did.
artist and
Yeah, I
like
always think.
freedom of expression and stuff like that.
Yeah, not really Blink as much. Blink were the band that got me into like a lot more kind of DIY kind of punk stuff.
Yeah,
I just think in terms of comedy, uh, that's really informed what I will try to do. You know, if you want to put on a show and there's nothing to stop you putting on your own show and doing a comedy gig, you've put on yourself. There's nothing you can go on stage and do anything you want, kind of thing, to an extent, as long as it's trying to be appeal to someone who will find it funny. And I just think less you are beholden to promoters and people that will have your career in their hands, the more you can have your own kind of, or you can control your own destiny almost, the better you will be long
definitely.
term. Yeah.
I think you've touched on something really important there because I know a lot of people in general. I'm not just talking about comedians, but a lot of people in general, they focus too much on thinking, okay, how can I please these people in front of me? But I think you mentioned before, like getting up on stage and doing something that you want to do and
Yeah.
hoping to find the people who enjoy it rather than seeing the people who are in your audience and going, how can I make them enjoy it? Like re-engineering it to like, how can I perform I want to do and then find the people that enjoy it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I mean. Yeah. I remember someone saying recently that about a specific comedian saying, "Oh, well, you know, they did this, then they won this, then they did this, and they went that way, and they've done everything you're supposed to do to get famous." I just kind of thought, A, you can be doing stuff to get famous, you know, and B, there's no specific path that will lead you to a successful career.
Sure.
You just got to do what you want to do, and it sounds simple, and it sounds like it might not even work, and maybe it won't work, but you'll be a lot happier doing your own. Well, you put your own gigs on, don't you? You'll be a lot happier putting your own kind of stuff out there individually than you will if you're asking someone your kind of path or career in their hands, kind of thing.
Definitely, and I kind of subscribe to the like. I heard Scott Hall mention it once, the wrestler, and Scott Hall basically said there's more than one way to do the right thing. So don't get me wrong. If I sold out and I made £90 billion every year, I'd be absolutely loving that as well. But at the same time,
Yeah.
if I made no money, but I was doing stuff that I really enjoyed and like I made a single penny, but people came up to me afterwards, said I really really loved that. I'd also really appreciate that as well. So there's more than one way to do the right thing, and I think too many people get caught up in this whole try and make money, try and do this, and try and please people. But no, try and please yourself,
Yeah.
and then in the process of that, hopefully there will be
You,
other
you,
people that
you've
will
seen on
find you and they'll
Facebook and
enjoy it.
stuff when yeah, still there.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Sorry. Um, yeah, I mean, you've seen on like Facebook when someone puts a gig out there, like 30 to 50 people all applying for the same gig. Why not do that and book an hour in a room if you think you're capable of doing so, and doing your own hour just on a fucking Thursday night, just trying to get a few people in. there's no specific way of doing comedy, and like I say, there's no specific way of doing music. And Blink have sold a lot of records and got a lot of money out of it. They've always done things their own kind of way. You know,
Yeah,
I think you just
definitely.
need to do things.
Yeah. So just before we wrap up as well, like one final question then. What do you think of the offshoot bands? Like you mentioned Angels and Airways before. I know there's Plus 44, there's Boxcar Racer. Personally, I love the first Angels and Airways album. I don't know what real Blink fans think of it, but I like, to me, that came out at a time when I was really open to that kind of music and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But what do you think of all the offshoots?
If you were to take them in order, I really like that Sky Racer album. I think it was a shame that became a Boxcar Racer album because honestly, it wasn't that drastically different from Blink. And if they could have taken a lot of those songs and worked on them a bit more with Mark, I think as good as a Boxcar Racer album it was, I loved it.
Yeah,
I think Plus 44 on one album again, so you can't judge them too much. But if you that one album, it was good. I remember when they toured. Yeah, Mark had to tour without Travis because he was poorly or something. So seeing them live was a bit disappointing. But that Plus 45 album's good. Till Airwaves, I don't know what kind of merits you kind of judge them on because they've got putting out like just putting out like 2 albums a year at one. There must be like 8 Angels and Airwaves albums at this point.
yeah,
And I think with that comes the fact that there'll be a lot of good songs, maybe, but there's a lot of filler on those albums. But
definitely.
having said that, I do think that the best Angels and Airwaves songs are better. I prefer them to the best Plus 44 songs. It just remains to be seen whether there'll be more Angels and Airwaves stuff or whether, in the last few days, Tom's talked about Link with him in is more of a reality than it has been in the last couple of years. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be nice to see that eventually. But yeah, so I mean, Andrew, we've come to the end of it. So, is there anything else you want to get in before you go? Anything you might want to plug?
No, not really. I mean, me and Tom draw a comic strip about Tom DeLonge called Aliens Exist.
Where can people find it?
That can be found on Twitter. Let me just check my Twitter name.
I've checked these out as well. They are very, very good. I really enjoyed it when you showed it me, and then I saw them. I was really, really impressed.
Thanks, man. So yeah, well, on Instagram it's aliens.exist.comic.
There you go. So check that out, everyone. Definitely worth
And
checking
then
out. Like I
obviously
said, I enjoyed it.
once all this is over, I'll be doing gigs and stuff, as I'm sure you will be. So that'll be fun at some point in the medium term future, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, probably medium to long term. It looks like at the moment, but yeah. So go check that out. And Andrew, thank you very, very much for joining me today.
Thanks, Adam. That's been really, really fun conversation.